Okay. Hello, Dr. Chung. I'm so happy to be speaking with you today. Do you just want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. Hi, I'm Dr. Dorian Chung, and I'm a associate professor at apparel merchandising and design program, and my area is more of the merchandising area. And my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
Thank you. And then you kind of talked a little bit about it, but do you just want to go into more a little bit about what omnichannel retailing is?
Sure, yeah. So I teach omni-channel retailing at the undergraduate level, and it is really about how consumers and the companies are using multiple different channels to do business and communicate, which we are already doing. But for omni-channel retailing, it is more important for the companies to operate all the channels as one instead of individual silos. So when a consumer is interested in some kind of products in the physical store, if it is out of stock, they could easily access the information whether they still have it online or the system behind the scenes system is well connected um, among different channels for the for the business. Therefore, consumers will have seamless experience in different channels, physical store, pop-up, their mobile phone, social media, their online stores. It'll be all seamless in across channels and across different devices.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And then you kind of talked about what can students expect to learn about in your omnichannel retailing class, or kind of the big takeaway, I guess?
Yeah, I think the big takeaway is just to understand how it works behind the scenes for the companies, because as consumers, we are experiencing omni-channel retailing all the time, and we probably do not notice that when you go to Target to pick up something, you order on your mobile phone and you pick up in a physical store. That is omni-channel retailing, and we are probably not aware that how much work is devoted behind the scenes. So in this course, I think the biggest takeaway is to understand how it operates from the business standpoint.
Yeah, and it plays a role into our everyday lives. So, um, what is the importance of omnichannel retailing, and how does it play a role in today's society?
Well, I think it is a evolving type of business or a way of business operation. Like I said, everybody, consumers are so used to different devices and changing between them. So I think it is just important that businesses are following along. And given COVID-19's pandemic, we observed that it is not only corporates are doing that, small businesses are catching up with the game of omni-channel retailing too.
Yeah. So I know you brought up COVID a little bit, so I wanted to ask about that. What major impacts has COVID had on omnichannel retailing, and what changes do you think are here to stay from that?
Well, yeah, I think with COVID-19, the biggest impact on all businesses that face-to-face interaction has to be limited.
Hmm.
Therefore, it is as if we're taking out one channel from omni-channel. But in fact, I saw a lot of businesses are doing very well with um, pickup or appointments, especially with smaller boutiques. They do like styling appointments that people can visit the store and have the store or the boutique to their own within a smaller span of time. So they are not exposing to each other, to other consumers and the risk of catching COVID-19. So I think a lot of things might stay just because um, first, small businesses are catching up with omnichannel. So they probably did not have a chance to halt and think about how they could incorporate omnichannel to their business. But with COVID-19, they kind of had to. So that, I think that will stay. And for consumer behavior standpoint, a lot of people do not have the chance to try some new omni-channel retailing. Like
Yeah.
I never tried grocery delivery before. I
Yeah,
know it is
sure.
there. Yeah, but
Yeah.
because of COVID, we kind of have to try. And once we try, it might stay.
Yeah. Great. That's lovely. And what are some of your favorite topics to teach in the course, or what you think is most interesting?
Ooh, I I like social media impact a lot. That is also my passion for my research. So
Oh,
when it comes to omni-channel retailing and the impact of social media, whether it is used as a transaction channel or a communication channel, I'm very interested in that, and I'm very passionate about teaching it.
cool. Um, what has been your educational path to ISU, and did you know that you've always wanted to be a professor?
Ooh, okay. No, I have grown up dreaming about being a professor. Um, well, I like solving puzzles, so I would like to, I know I would like to do something that will allow me to to solve a lot of puzzles in terms of research or in terms of finding new ways to teach and engage students. So my education path is that I got my undergraduate degree from Taiwan. That is my home country, in management science, and I minor in computer science. So I always have the passion about getting to know about people and getting to know about people's interaction with technology, especially computers. And then I after I graduate, I knew that at that time that I wanted to do more research. I wanted to solve more problems. So I became a research assistant to a professor in another school. And then I decided to come to the US to pursue my master's and PhDs. So I got both my master and PhD degrees in Purdue University.
Oh, okay.
And I moved here.
To Iowa.
Yes. Yeah.
I know you've touched on your research quite a bit, and I was going to ask you, so most professors do participate in research here, and you said you mainly focus on social media, or do you want to talk a little bit about your favorite research interests?
Sure. Yeah. And you might need to stop me because I am
Yeah, you don't have to go into all the details, but just a
yeah,
little bit about it.
I love my research so much, so
Mhm.
you need to stop me at one time. So I do research in consumer behavior in digital environments, and I take a network perspective, meaning that I kind of zoom out a little bit to look at how people are interacting with each other and with brands in a network. So most recently, I do research in looking at how social media usage impact on individuals' social movement participation, um, particularly political consumerism. So how people use social media platforms as a way to engage others to participate in boycotting or boycotting or demanding companies for more transparency in their production or their labor, so
Yeah,
forth.
awesome. That's so interesting. And that kind of got amplified, into this year. So that's great. Um, what are some important skills fashion students should look to acquire in college, would you say?
Well, soft skills, of course. I think we throughout the program we have emphasized that a lot. And other than that, I think for today's retail environment, having skills in data analytics and interpretation is very important. I think for our students, it's not about how you are going to become a data scientist, but instead, when you receive the data, you know what type of analysis will be required. So you can ask somebody like a data scientist to
Mhm.
do that. And when you receive the results from the data scientist, you are able to interpret that and make decisions and conclusions based upon the information you receive.
Cool. And then going off that kind of, are there any other classes that you teach that you think apparel merchandising students should take, or classes that you think would be helpful for the future?
I teach consumer behavior class for our undergrad students too. Um, I think it is a required class for our merchandising students. So, I think it is not something that you could choose not to take. Other than that, I think some type of data analysis classes will be great. Either it is analysis on numeric data or text-based data. I think any kind of data analytics courses will be great.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
And then, are there any fashion social media platforms or websites, magazines, or just any other online platform that you love to frequently visit or are very active on?
Ooh, I am on Instagram, but just to browse what's new.
Mhm.
I use it as like the updated version of fashion magazine.
Mhm.
And I am on this platform called, or a website called Let's Make Art. It is a website that provide tutorials for watercolor, art journaling, and kids arts. And they also have like toolkits that you could purchase. And it is a community. They have a community of aspiring artists too.
That's so cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Do you have any tips or advice for students in the AMD program or those who are looking for internships?
um, but this is a tough question. Well, there are
Or just
so
something
much
you
to
wish that
explore.
you knew maybe going into?
Going into looking for internship, of course, we have a lot of resources in our program. So don't hesitate to reach out for help,
Mhm.
um, especially when it comes to networking. Don't be shy to reach out to alums. Don't be shy to reach out to our advisors. They are wonderful and very helpful for finding internships. I think one of the soft skills I think is very important in terms of either I think in terms of balancing between your schoolwork, your job and internship, and even when you're a senior, you're looking for a job. I think a very important soft skill is time management, and that will really help reduce the stress during
Mhm.
a very exploratory time
Yeah,
in students'
definitely.
life.
And then to wrap it all up, what is a typical day like for you, either now with COVID restrictions with classes or what it was like when it was normal?
Well, I have a 6-year-old at home, so my day kind of evolves around his schedule. So after dropping him off, I would come to my office and I break my day between teaching, research, and doing some services for the department or the university and our professions.
Mhm.
Um, and I enjoy um, synchronous interactions with my students a lot. So that's usually the time that I am most hyped up
Yeah,
during my day,
yeah,
being able to see our students
faces
and
and
interact.
everything. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I miss seeing people in class.
I
Um, yeah, and then after I go home, I will spend some time with my son, having dinner, and then finally, before I go to bed, I would probably reply to emails, grade a little bit. Sometimes I work out, or sometimes I indulge myself in watercolor painting a little bit. And then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, not much we can do these days.
I know.
Gotta do what we gotta do. Well,
Yes.
thank you for speaking with me today. It was very nice, and I enjoyed getting to learn more about you. So,
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
yeah, thank you.